Thanks. It's always a little scary to come to a festival because you don't know who you're facing or what's going to happen. And I really want to thank Atta Galatta and organizers for just really spreading a lot of warmth and goodwill. Yeah, I'm going to be reading from this book of poems. It's still in progress, that draws on Valmiki's Ramayana. And actually, I think the person who kind of twisted in my arm and forced me to read Valmiki is one of Bangalore's own, Arsha Sathar, and the book is dedicated to her. I'm not sure if she's in the audience, but well, I'm calling it a writing through, which means that it incorporates translation practice, but it's not at all a translation. And I'm trying to dissolve the line between translation and original writing. Unfortunately, I can't say anything more about it than that, because I want to read you a long poem from this project. Take the 20 minutes. This poem begins at the point where the monkeys are being sent out in search parties to look for Sita. It's a place you may know. And that's where begins what's known as what I think of as the Bila episode. Bila can mean something as small as a hole or something as large as a cavern. And I actually use a word from one of the French translations of the Ramayana, on trou, which conveys this kind of ambiguity for the title. Now, one more thing to say is that, of course, Sugriva, the king of the monkeys, is a very questionable character, right? I mean, he's a coward, he's manipulative, but he's also a kind of a tyrant. And so he gives the monkeys an ultimatum: find Sita in 1 month, or I will execute all of you. And that's where this begins. But first, Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Arohya Kavitasyakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Yapiban Satatat Ram Charitra Mritra Sagaram Aturprasthan Munim Vande Prachetasam Kalmasham. Wooing Ram Ram, softly so soft, perched on a high branch, the koel called Valmiki, who drinks again and drinks again of that Ram narrative nectar, taking to his own pain that sorrow sea. And there's a second epigraph from Ezra Pound, Canto 30. Pity causeth the forests to fail. Pity slayeth my nymphs. Pity spareth so many an evil thing. Pity befouleth April. Pity is the root and the spring. The men of the monkey army fanned out across and beyond the villages of the Vindhyas, searching for Sita or some trace of where she might have been taken, entering and exhausting the forests day by day, regrouping each night in growing despair, leavened only by intoxicants and the dark gloam of each other's companionship. They gradually strayed into a more arid zone of rocks and boulders, barren, denuded, red or orange craggy foothills, scraggly trees with whitened leaves or rattling seed pods. It was a land that had once been lush, scourged by the blind anger of a Brahmin grieving the loss of a son. Now he too had died, but his legacy of drought remained. Weathered in the harsh noons and dirty winds, thoughts of Sita scrambled by a more literal thirst, climbing the bare rock faces and scrambling to shade where they could find it, sniffing furiously for signs of water. They grew weak and slowly crazy. By and by, in such tortured, faltering exploration, one day, going round a hill, they glimpsed green foliage entwining into the rock. That Durga Rakshabila, first just a hint of night in the coils of a creeper grove, but further guarded as if by demonic curtains of shade. There, bees circled in a honey haze, fragrance flung from flowers brightly red or purple, superfluous strewn or hanging heavy from stems. Suddenly, explosions of wing, cronchas, swan, cranes, crows, shooting from that grove, pink geese dripping dew and crimson pollen. Dizzy and bewildered, those alpha apes aroused by such wet thoughts, those simians, teeth grinding, hastened towards that wonder, with strength slowly renewing. Hanuman sent a tentative first foot in the hole. Deeper and deeper disappeared that leg. Evidently, there was a drop in there, an opening out, a cave, a cavern. Tree roots twisted hungrily into it, the foot grass a deep, deep green, like the obscene zones of the Daityas, looking, hearing, all the world's creatures echoing from inside, and too, all those who had simply arrived at the same threshold. Harder to see, but harder in every way to leave, nor faintest trust of sun or moon. In, sliding down, fall to a glassy, mossy knoll somewhere, dark, so dark you doubted you were there. But following cave water's unmistakable scent, those brave monkeys moved through the passage, at first like wind unhindered. Then, when the press of limb to stone became all you'd known, under such curtained dark, skin hairs erect, knotting arm to arm, 8 miles or more, clinging close, crawling, dry throat, judgment addled. Where was it, that water? Deep in the cave, they saw a light. Dadrushu kanchanan vrikshan deepta vaishvanara prabhan salams talams tamalams cha pumnagan vanjulandavan champakan nagavrikshams cha karnikarams cha pushpitan tarunadit Samkashan Vaidurya Vedikan, young and tender, the sun at dawn, cat's eye studded in silver seats, sealed in light from that cat's eye blue, flocks of birds over hidden ponds, overgrown trees with gold leaf bark, glittering like the sun at dawn, hidden ponds flashing bronzing fish, recurring mirror of your desire, airplanes and chariots with fat gold wheels. Now you need my body so we can be free. Softly we fall in the silver dust seas. The planets they spin in the minds of gods. For in this new darkness, so bright, it needle-pierced the eyes, produced astringent whines, noises in the ear, drugged the proximate senses. The image of a carpet was a carpet. The image of a lotus blue silk shawl was a blue silk shawl and caress of the hairs of your skin. The image of gold amphoras, plates of bell metal, heaps of the finest aloe, sandalwood figurines, wine reposed in silver bowls, the sweetest, tartest fermented honeys, caviar, crystal, silk cushions filled with swan feathers, the juiciest roots, shoals of rippled fruit in palanquins, deerskins, all instantly the things themselves. Those sucked by their own smothered desires, our valiant alpha apes were a long while unable even to move, gaping in the dazzling, growing, crowded terror of it. Was this paradise with its god still hiding? Or had the poor monkey soldiers stumbled now into the by-lanes of death itself? A woman appears, mendicant in antelope skin, hair in tattered locks, her taut and stringy body breath pulsing through rib bones born of penance, dark at the center as if from within, feeding the light that follows her. Swayam Prabha. Shiny yogini, where have we landed? Tell us who you are. 2. I am Swayam Prabha. Maya is my father, who had this place built to the exact specifications of his dreams and the dreams of others, with the careful application of all of Usana's arts and sciences. Now I mind it purely by my sound thought. Yogini, be straight. Are we dead? Oh, pitiful monkeys, this is neither the place of death, nor that of life, nor of anything in between. It is what it is, oh poor monkeys. Not easy to leave, but if you so choose, I can try to help. How to know what it meant to decide to leave if they didn't know what it had meant to enter? Each thought like dew collecting on the inseam of a lick of stone, a place for the eyes, that sapphire cave, though sometimes dark in secrets. Anything called to mind could be enjoyed there among serene lakes so completely echoing the ceiling they seemed to rise up in points to meet it. The tunnels unfolded in spirals. Were you going up or down? And alternating phases of blue and pink and black light. Fruit groves, pleasure coves, nested nooks, miniature rock holes dissolve and reform around your finger. They gorged themselves, got fat, apples, bananas, almonds, winged termites, honey brewed thick as gruel or delicate as aperitif, button mushrooms, fragrant thyme and cannabis, wild potatoes, a mouse or a baby boar they'd catch. They groomed or made love to each other on warming floors. They slept, nor day nor night could stay. To know this vacancy at any given instant seemed already a knowledge of the distant past. Half a second, or 100, or 1,000,000. We monkeys have never been much good at measuring time. Visitors, visions in plain sight, a riff of Sita's yellow sari dancing in the wind, hooked on a branch. Silk bruised your cheek. How come, my love? How come? But boredom, always the growing boredom. And oddly, as boredom's aftertaste in this prison beyond seasons, guilt. Somewhere out there, there was still Sita, a skeleton maybe, Rama, a galaxy of anguish, Sugriva, a tall, petulant, ruthless, gilded executioner's sword. His threats, once spoken, had mysteriously followed them even here in time's hollow. If there was any way of finding Sita, they ought to get back. Turned a corner, and she was there. Swayamprabha, guide us. If you so much as peep your eyes open before it's done. Lids shut, the dark of the outside and the dark of the inside were one and the same. Gripping limb to limb, they were transported into a fine, clear, sun-kissed, blossom-floating windy day on a green foothill of the Vindhyas. The ocean's rolling beat and rattle audible from down and beyond where met, nearing the horizon, crusty white lines of surf. The end of the world? And Sita? Sorry, it's going a bit longer, but it isn't my 20 minutes. 3. The shoreless ocean, the ocean without limit, the ocean as limit, the abode of Varuna, roaring and wild with angry billows. And while they'd been busy ransacking the mountain cavern of Maya's design, King Sugriva's ultimatum of 1 month had slipped away. He'd be on their trail. It was spring. Nothing could make them happy. Not the scent of wildflowers, mango and guava trees drooping down and covered with climbers. Not the glimmering, pooling light, the rousing winds that encircled them. This very beauty was fear in the monkey's heart. Tara says, let's go back in the hills, in the Bila, that amazing cave. We were fools to leave. Chorus of monkeys. Yes, back in the Bila, back in the Bila. Nila says, idiots, do you think Lakshmana won't find us there? Yes, oh no, he'll find us there. But at least going back will give us a chance, perhaps save us from being executed. Yes, oh yes, going back will give us a chance. Enough. Sugriva will always have dominion over us in the land of the living. Saying this, Angada sank down into the grass, sobbing. For we have opened door upon door and come out from that darkness only to settle in this new here that too will never be fully illumined. And there's only one way to walk beyond that tyrant's reach, keep our honor, fasting to death on those sands below. Immune to the arguments of both Tara and the judicious Hanuman, Angada, slowly followed by most of his army, who could so easily see the clarity of his words, made a way down the hill to the jeweled beach. 4. Sorry, I had 20 minutes, so I timed it very carefully. They began to prepare themselves for the long days of the fast. Seated calmly on gathered nests of kusha grass, faces turned east, and the blades of that grass nest on which they sat like tapering fingers pointing south. Talking at first into the night until the strength to speak began to falter. Talking of the long event chain that had somehow stranded them here on the continent's tip, this final shore. Telling the story of Rama's exile, Dasharatha's death, the carnage in Janasthana, the abduction of Sita, that jewel of Videha, and the killing of Jatayu, the killing of Vali, Rama's wrath, the wrath of Sugriva, that sorrow sea, its unrelenting waves, that storm that had swallowed everyone and brought them to this final resolve. Then the emptiness of the words themselves, the translucent shells of their souls. To ascend truly, you had to be gradual in the fade of hope, in your emotions drained of color, in the precise sequence of disavowal. In the end, you took in only water sapped from air and drawn with the breath from hole to hole. The sun's glitter thrown like sparks of fire, the great serpents roiling in the hell depths below, and the sea married into the sky, and the sky so completely in the sea, and the sea like sky, and the sky like sea, the king of the rivers, the mouth of the universe, and those star-rushed waves, thick with multitude, suspended like lisps in between. At first, the nights were restless, restless to the wake of sun. But by the fourth, the limbs completely slack, the soldiers on their backs or sides, arms and calves jelly, stomach a discarded begging bowl. O come end, did you not always reside in me, casting your sleep in every cell and membrane? Did you not prowl like an innocuous stranger at every father's bed, every kingdom's border? And the meteors shall know us by our purpling smoke, darkened shrouds, the clouds, the paradox of existence that, in going together, we go alone. So if the epic must continue with promise of heavens ahead, let this little crook of it stay behind, separate, intransigent, refusing to close. Thank you.